Hey, what's good? What's up? And good news, everyone. I figured it out. We've learned some things in this exploration of Soulframe, right? And what did we learn? What did we learn? We learned a whole lot. We learned about the quests. We learned about how to unlock your map. The world tree. I thought there was only one world tree, but there are multiple, and you're gonna have to find those world trees to open up your map a little bit more as you progress in the game. Also, hidden bosses, okay? And I was misusing a mechanic in this game, which in hindsight makes me want to go back to the undead area and explore a little bit more because there is some stuff there that was pretty rad. But yeah, like this run of Soulframe was probably the most entertaining for me because I actually learned a lot. You see, off of the bosses I'm fighting, I'm back in the lower levels. Why? Because, well, I wanted to go back there and kind of start my search over again with kind of fresh eyes after my longer adventure going to one end of the map to the other. And it kind of makes sense why I didn't find any other like injured world trees on my first run, because what I like to do when I comb a map is I like staying near the coastline. I like staying near bodies of water. I don't know why. That's just a weird quirk of mine. Maybe it's because I am a water sign. I like staying near bodies of water. But anyway, I digress. And normally, you know, the map will progress with me and then I'll just move inward, right? In this, if you want to open up your map more, you just got to find world trees, pull the spear out of them, and, you know, you're good as gravy. Also, so far in this game, from what I found out and what I was told, there are only 5 major quests that you can do and that you need to do, right? I have done 3 of them so far, and one of them you will see in this recording here that I have for you. And you know how I was telling you guys, you know, what the fuck is up? There's no crafting, man. It just so happens that the quest I did gave me crafting. So it was like this beautiful crescendo of like the things I was curious on, some of them anyway, were solved as I played this run, which was fucking great. It was beautiful. That's why there's a lot of good news, you know what I'm saying? I also figured out that there are some different variations, some different factions that you can join, right? But they're not like player-made factions. They're like factions in the game. The Keith of Kings, that was like a faction I joined, right? I thought it was just a quest, but in fact it was a faction that I joined, right? So why are factions important? I think it has something to do. I believe it has something to do with your pack level, or something like that. But again, I have to do a little bit more testing to give you guys concrete evidence. But yeah, again, this was just fun, right? Because while exploration occurs, finding new gems in the world is just like icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're like a scientific mind, if you're an aggressive explorer like I am, I'm kind of both those things. Discovery can be such an addicting thing. You have no idea. So the fact that I found not one, but kind of like 2 things, technically 3 things, but I found one of them out through conversation, kind of like blew my mind. It really made me like hungry for more, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, like, you know, what can I say other than this game? This game has potential, man. This game has potential. And I'm just curious on how, because I was on the website, right? I was telling you guys I was going to do my research. I was going to do my due diligence, right? And from the notes that I read, right, the devs are really trying to listen to the community. They're really trying to make this a community-based game. And I fuck with that heavy, right? But at the same time, I'm curious on how they're gonna listen to the community, what they're gonna add. You know, I generally think making the combat a little bit more diverse would be great. Like, again, the Keitha King is like a fire elemental like pact or faction, and I wish those factions would play like they'd give you like your their blessing or something like that, to where you have like a fire element to your particular class as well. I feel like that'd be really cool, and it also fits with the theme of like being like part of nature and helping out nature and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not with what I'm learning. I don't know if the whole nature aspect is too heavily implied. Obviously, the main enemy of the game, or the main group that you're fighting against, the main opposition of the game, wants to pollute the land, this place. I don't even know what this place is called. I do know, but I don't know how to pronounce it. And you know, like as you're opposing them, you're inherently just trying to like clean up. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just polluting everything they touch, right? And you're just kind of cleaning up. You know, you're literally cleaning them up and cleaning up their mess, right? So I can see where it's very nature based, but like I suffice to say, I say that because I think to like expand this game, right, and to make it more intriguing, more interesting, right, they could easily add like mythical creatures, you know what I'm saying, because they're also part of the part of nature, right? You already have like these kind of like spirit animals and stuff like that, right? So maybe like the way they introduce it is they start polluting like the fake creatures that they try to introduce into the game. You save the fake creatures, and that slowly unlocks more of them into your world, or into the world, right? Which can be really interesting, right? But again, it's just like, how do they want to do that? Is it going to be like patches where they add new monsters in, or if it's going to be like kind of like they're on their own island? I also learned that there are some like kind of like islands that are on the map that you can't readily get to, but they have like world trees on them, so they are discoverable. So another like interesting thing they could do to make the world bigger, right, is just make big islands, right, and expand the world through going through or traveling to different islands, which could be really interesting and intriguing, right, depending on what the islands are. As I've been going through the game, right, I realized that there are a lot of like temples and tombs. I'm actually gonna today as in when this video drops, I'm gonna try and go through more temple searches, because I learned that there are some hidden bosses that I haven't found yet, right, and just trying to get that out there for you guys is gonna be something really interesting, and I'm just generally as a player excited to see what these bosses have, right? I only fought one boss in my mind right now, and you know, it was the story to the boss was very fun, but like the boss in and of itself wasn't that challenging. Maybe you can say I fought two. Again, if you think of the other corrupted gear that I fought, if that can be considered a boss, but in my mind, you know what I mean, like they didn't feel challenging like a boss to me. You know, I kind of just I kind of just fought them, you know, and I didn't die once. Like these battles that you see where there's big groups kind of like fighting me all at once, they're kind of more of a challenge than some of the bosses that I've encountered, right? So it's really difficult for me to say that these are bosses, because they don't have that boss level difficulty. But again, like I've been reading some stuff on this website, I've been learning, and I've figured out that there are a bunch of new bosses that I haven't discovered yet, but they're all underground, right? So again, I guess I gotta be a miner and start digging holes, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to figure out where the bosses are hiding, because again, like now that I've unlocked the crafting system in the game, I'm super excited to just like get hurt. The way you unlock more items that you can craft is by increasing your the person, right, the ancestor that does your crafting. You have to improve your like bond up with her, right? And I feel like the only way you do that is by making her craft stuff for you, right? And there are some like stuff that you can start up crafting immediately, right? But you have to have the proper material. And you know, it's so if you guys haven't found the crafting lady, the crafting ancestor I'm talking about, you're gonna want to find this quest here. because this quest is what gives her to you. But yeah, you know, I gotta walk with this giant heavy thing in my hand, bro. And it's like when you meet the lady, she lifts this thing up with one hand, and I'm like, damn, how strong is this? How strong you gotta be? You know what I'm saying? At first, I was confused because I didn't quite understand like where this thing is supposed to go. You know, I'm thinking to myself, do I put it like what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? I originally thought that I was gonna go into some tomb and through here, right? But no, like no. I was like mad confused. I was mad confused. But then I'm like, well, I came all this way, and the only thing here is this metal head. I almost thought that I was gonna like bring a tiki back to life, which would have been super fucking cool. But instead, I'm not gonna lie, the person that you get is a baddie, in my opinion. Like, she thicker than a whole Snickers. But y'all go see, So yeah, after we're walking quite a couple of steps, you know, encountering some people, I made it to the grave of ancestors, right? And bro, I was not expecting who was gonna come out and smoke. I was ready for it to be a short goblin dwarf, a guy missing his head, and I just brought his head back. He was gonna put his head on. No, it's this lady. Huh? Like, I know a bad bitch, but not who she belongs to.
I am
like,
Tuval Kane, not Kane, my father's father. Not the greatest steel singer in all the world.
You look like the greatest
but
song.
The worst who ever lived.
What? Huh?
Share not your envoy heart.
I share my heart with you. God damn. But after that, you know, right next to where she was, there was like this hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. So I had to go in and see what the fuck is going on. You know, curiosity, you know what I'm saying? Just like a slight like little gripe. The temples or like the tombs, these caves that have like these like mini adventures in them, they all look the same, and it confuses my brain because it's like there's no difference, there's no differentiation. I immediately thought that I was in here before, bro. I was stressing out because I'm like, am I tripping? I swear, like, deja vu was hitting me like a motherfucker, and I'm like, dude, I know I haven't been in here before, bro. I'm pretty sure the floor wasn't on fire, but my deja vu was kicking me in the head like, nah, nigga, we've been here before, bro. Like, we've been here before, bro. You're walking in circles. How do you even get here? And I'm like over here hyperventilating like SpongeBob underwater, and I'm like, bro, I just gotta keep forging forward and figure out what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? I cannot be deterred here. But yeah, suffice to say, the ground's on fire. The floor is on fire, for real, and I'm trying to just figure out how to get around it. But I just decided to take it, you know what I'm saying? A couple of birds don't scare a chef away, you know? But yeah, guys, would you consider this, or these parts of the game, dungeon exploration? That's like my biggest question here, because if this is like considered a dungeon, I think like there is potential, right? There's potential for this, and the type of, they could change up the type of dungeons very easily. Again, my faction is very heavily based on fire, so you know, I could see myself going up against like fire spirits, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's in the faction territory, them being kind of based off of, or maybe playing to the affinity of the faction, could, you know, be a cool homage, you know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, you really don't have to be of the same faction to do like this particular thing I'm doing right now, right? What I'm getting at is like, it could be like interesting, you know what I'm saying? You could like, if say you're from a different faction but you're doing quests in another faction territory, it's kind of like you're in a different turf, for real, you know what I'm saying? You're so used to being in one spot, now you're in a different spot, and it's completely different from what you're accustomed to, right? It could also breed diversity in the map, right? Because Again, the only real place that I can think of that feels different in the game was that one kind of like, again, in my last video of the Soulframe, right? That place where my video ended off, which was this kind of like really desolate, like everything's basically like sick or dead. It was just like this really interesting place, you know what I'm saying? And it was unique compared to everything else, even though it was a little bit on the like necromancer side of things. It was still interesting, right? It was interesting because it was different from everything else, right? That's kind of what I'm hoping for they do in this game, especially because the more different you can make different parts of the map feel, I feel like the fresher like the game feels in general, right? Like, so let's say you just break it up into three different biomes, right? The undead biome with all the corrupted stuff, maybe like well, you could do 4 honestly with how this game is structured, right? But okay, so we have the dead one, right? We have this kind of like fire-based one off of the Keith of Kings, and then you could say the third one's kind of like this aggressive foresty aspect because of I'm thinking of the other creature the other sentient creatures that I have found, their kingdom and stuff like that could be less forest, and then like you have this underground, you know, where you find all the tombs and stuff, and those could be like easily like underwater. They could be, you know, stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, where it's like you know, your casual ruin, you know what I'm saying. I could even see like them throwing in like volcanoes in the map, like again, this game has so many avenues, right? So many avenues. I wonder if they can even employ like, not like sky islands, but like you're so high up in the air it feels like you're in a different place, you know what I'm saying? And then maybe that's where you find like more creatures that have potential to fly. Again, I don't know how exactly you would, unless you're like a ranger and archer, I wouldn't be too sure how you would fight that as like a melee character, because I am a melee character. Maybe if I throw my sword directly at them and it hits, they fall down and they're concussed, and I can just jump them from the ground, right? But like, again, a lot of different avenues. This kind of goes into, kind of flows easily into what I'm talking about too. I want more like monster opposition diversity as well. Like, I don't want to just keep fighting the guys that are ruining the environment, you know what I'm saying? I want to see like maybe hostile spirits again. I said that fire spirit thing, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like aggressive like forest animals, you know. I haven't really seen any predators. There are no predator animals, which is strange, right? You see a bunch of deers, squirrels, beavers, but no tigers, no bears, you know, no boars, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no aggressive opposition, and this makes me wonder why, you know what I'm saying? Like, as the player, right, if you're saving all the gentle creatures, you know, what happens to all the aggressive ones that eat the gentle creatures? You know, where's the actual like environmental food chain that's inherent in all the games, right? Again, that could just be simple oversight, but I think that if you imply like these kind of like elemental aspects to things, you also keep going with the mystical aspect with the guardians of the forest, or I don't know what exactly you'd call them other than that. You could expand the idea, like, again, a guardian spirit that you have to fight and like and cure, for lack of a better words, could be just like a tiger, you know what I'm saying, or just like a fucking wolf, you know what I'm saying, like these really ferocious creatures, and then it adds like this more kind of aggressive, more like challenging boss battle. Because again, I've only played this game for a total of maybe 6 hours, maybe 7 hours, and like, again, I just haven't felt difficulty in the boss battles. I feel like the challenge really comes from getting jumped, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. Don't get me wrong, because that is a challenge in and of itself. But the boss battles should be what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? The boss battles should be what you're craving, right? Don't get me wrong though. I haven't found some of the big hypey boss battles. And what I do, I'll definitely show you guys it here on my channel. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, or like and subscribe. And you know, we'll go through it together. But in general, right? Like, I'm curious to see like what more they in forms of combatants they can throw into this game, right? Also, like again, I keep saying it, how they're going to improve the combat, because don't get me wrong, the way I fight right now is cool. Like, it's cool, but it's like it's vanilla's all hell get out. And when you're fighting opposition that has like magic grenades and like I finally fought like a mini boss for the warriors for these guys that I be running into, right? And their attacks throw like lightning waves at you and shit, and it's like, that's fucking cool. How come they're the only ones that are allowed to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, but if it's like one of those things where it's like, oh hey, it's like a faction thing, you have to get a certain level in your faction, because you do level up your faction. There are faction points. You know what I'm saying? I got flashbacks to For Honor when I learned that. So, you know, if it's like you have to get a certain level of faction points, and then all of a sudden you get the element of that faction, then, you know, it all starts making sense in my mind. And you get the blessing of the faction, and it's kind of like a buff to where, like, for a certain duration, you can do like elemental damage of whatever element your faction is. That'd be interesting. But again, like, something to overall spice up the combat. And I'm not trying to diss the way they improve the combat right now, because like again, you level up your weapon. Your weapon has like a kind of like a skill tree to it, and that increases like, say, parry timing, stagger, you know what I'm saying, smite. There's something to do with smite, and I quite don't know what a smite is yet. Maybe that's the execution, but yeah, I'm not too sure yet what smite means in conjunction to the actual combat. When I think of smite, I think of League of Legends, and I'm like, I'm not hitting them with lightning. So like, what are you talking about? But or it could simply just be the execution. But I digress. You know, like, in games like this, I low-key want like sword skills. You know what I'm saying? I low-key want to see different sword styles because of how good the game looks. Like, I feel like implying like a different sword style in this game would be just like gangbusters. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, there are different. You have like different weapons, right? You have the dual daggers. You know, you have a rapier that you can use. For my specific class, I keep calling them classes, but I don't know if that's the right terminology. But you know, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I heard inklings that there's a magic sword class in this game, but I haven't seen it yet. So to me, it's just a rumor so far. But yeah, you know, until I find that, you know what I'm saying, I would love to see some more like sword techniques in the game. You know what I'm saying? It would just breathe life into it. I know I haven't played the mage class, but I know the mages and maybe even the archers would like some more diversity in the abilities that they can do. Right? The mages doing like more spells, the archers having probably more AoE attacks. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to implement that into the game? I could see that simply being like hotkeys for like hotkeys, exactly. For like the first thing that comes into my mind is I'm forgetting it because I don't play the game. It's World of Warcraft. I've never played World of Warcraft, but they have hotkeys, and the hotkeys, you know, activate different abilities. And it doesn't have to necessarily change like the setup they have right now. It's just adding more buttons, right? And you know, to the like veteran PC player, they're automatically gonna put their best buttons on their mouse, right? Or on comfortable buttons that they're used to, right? And so, you know, like, I hope they add more to the combat, right? I hope they add more to the combat. I don't know how they would do, like, say, the evolution of classes, because I feel like feeling the progression not just through like gear that you wear, but through the weapon that you choose. Sorry, y'all, I didn't even know that there was a crouch function. I learned that on the fly. Like, that was crazy. But like progression not just through your gear, but through your combat style would just go gangbusters. Like, just think, instead of like, okay, I was talking about sword styles, right? You find a particular teacher of that style, and boom, there you go. He'll teach you like the basic form of that style, and then all of a sudden your basic attacks change. Maybe you can link it better in with your heavy attacks. Maybe your heavy attacks change too with it. Maybe your parry does a different. There's a different form of parry for the specific melee weapons, right? But for the mages specifically, right? If I was to go to the different classes instead of the one I know, right? The mages, you know, you just learn different elements depending on the different types of mages you find, and that could go very far just alone because there are so many different there's so many different types of spells in this game alone. They even bring up like there's heavy implications to necromancy, right? Because there are monsters that are immortal. There are monsters that don't die unless you do a very specific thing to them, right? So it's like, you know, the mage class could be easily kind of just like if you want to have unlimited amounts of fun and creativity, you go ham with the mages. You know what I'm saying? Archers are where, you know, again, I bring up the hunter. You know what I'm saying? You can bring up like an elemental like archer. You can do a spell archer thing. You know, but like if you do spell archers and you don't have elves, I'm gonna just look at you funny, because again, like, I feel like if you're really gonna dive into that archer archetype, I feel like elves are like the rulers of that class. I don't know if that's fucked up or not. Y'all can let me know. But like, I just think like if you expand through that, you gotta talk to some elves, bro. You gotta talk to some elves that they're gonna let you know some hidden tech that you don't know about. Again, I pulled this just from pure knowledge of like fantasy games, you know, that I've experienced. Okay. But yeah, you know, like these different ways to improve and modify, you know what I'm saying, your fighting style could go very far. Now, they might have already did that, and I just haven't found it yet. That's a very likely possibility, because again, if I harken back to the deer and the little girl, that quest that I had to do, they showed me, hey, there is different gear that you get, and it comes with a different weapon. Who's to say that it doesn't come with a different fighting style too? I mean, like, your whole fit changed, your whole weapon changed. It would be surprising to me if your fighting style didn't change too. You know what I mean? But again, did I think about that? Did they go that far? Only time will tell, and only through my exploration will I'll be able to know. Which is, again, something really exciting for me. I love the fact that there's so much to explore, and they're not gonna give it to you in a oh, the game's gonna play itself kind of way. And by that I mean, you know, hey, the map is gonna progress with you as you progress. No, you have to find the specific thing. You need to pull a spear out of it, and then boom, the map opens up for you. You know what I mean? Like that to me, generally, when I found that out, I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. You know what I mean? And bringing it back to the monster types, you know, hey, these immortal monsters that you find, they're not immortal. You have to do something very specific to them while they're down to kill them. That's the only way it's gonna work. You know what I mean? And then just learning that in and of itself, I was just like, damn, like, I learned that, and the first thing that came into my mind is I'm going to go back into that kind of like necromancy, kind of like dead, diseased area, and I'm gonna go make that area extinct, and I'm gonna figure out what I missed. Because honestly, like, the knowledge I have now would probably change my impression of that entire area. You don't, and that's a thing that I think that I love. You know what I'm saying? This because it's science. You know what I'm saying? You don't know something, and it affects your overall perspective on the entire thing. But as soon as you have that eureka, holy shit, you know what I'm saying? The cacophony of ideas in the mind just start exploding like one at a time, like stars in the galaxy. And it's just like, bro, I have to go back, you know, almost like y'all hear it in my voice, you know what I'm saying, almost foaming at the mouth by the possibility, you know what I'm saying. It's literally almost endless. It's just, how do they want to go at it? How do they want to go at it? How? You know what I'm saying? And I'm so excited to figure out how they're gonna do it. You know, I don't even really like, since RuneScape and a really old ass game that I used to play called Grand Chase, and its sister game Elsword kind of like fell off for me. I never really had a desire to grind a game. I've never had it. I literally don't. That's why you see me predominantly play PvP games, because grinding games like this just don't hit for me. But then, like, again, I didn't find this game. This game found me. And holy shit. Holy shit. Like, I'm, like, don't get me wrong. I played some of the other ones. I played some of the other, like, kind of grindy games. But, like, something about them just didn't ring. Like, it didn't speak to me, right? It didn't speak to me. This game, in my mind, the reason why it's just talking so loud in my mind is because it's so different. It's so different from everything else. Like, and it's doing it well, in my opinion. It's doing it very well. Even off the little that I've learned and the little I know, I just feel like this game does it so well. And the fact that there are, like, there's, again, mystery, there's answers when you know where to look, you know, there's intrigue, right? But the big question in my mind now is, what happens when you find all the answers? What happens then? Then it becomes simply grinding out certain monsters or maybe certain bosses to get certain armor types that you want. And then it really does start feeling like, you know, like Warframe. Again, they made Warframe though, right? So long as the gear that you get is interesting, the bosses that you fight are exciting, then it's just like a member pass in RuneScape. You know what I'm saying? You're playing in these really interesting and exciting locations, fighting crazy monsters to get this interesting loot. So long as they constantly improve the combat system and they keep evolving the combat system, like it could just go on forever. You know what I'm saying? There's no stopping. You know what I'm saying? And like, again, I am just purely excited by the endless possibility. But it's all based off of if the community agrees with my thoughts, if the community has their own thoughts that they feel like the game needs. Like, again, when I went on the website, right, to really read up and really try to understand more of what this game has to offer, right, that's how I figured out there are some bosses that I haven't found. That's how I figured out there are some missions that I even haven't discovered yet. So, you know, I had to hop back on and try and find them, right? But yeah, you know, like, I'm hoping that the community, like, their voice is similar to mine, or like kind of similar, to where we can get like constant change, constant improvement in a way that will be permanently interesting for the large majority of people. And like, the thing that I'm scared of personally is if like server wipes happen, because server wipes in a game like this will kill it, like, really fast. And that's why I stopped playing things like RuneScape and Elsword, because in Elsword, the OG variant, you know, your PvP gear was only good in PvP, and then they changed it up to where you can bring like really high statted armor in PvP and it'd be better than PvP gear. Well, before they did that, PvP was very, very skill based. It was very, very skill based. You had to know your character in and out to really kind of beat and counteract other characters, right? But when they changed it up like that, it was kind of like they could kill you in a good combo rotation, and there was really no counterplay to it. And it also kind of alienated high skilled, low level players that again, they're really good at the PvP aspect, and that's why they kind of do PvP at an early level, is to be higher levels, you know what I'm saying, and be like, haha, I'm better at the game than you. You just grind for no reason, you know what I'm saying? And you know, that kind of is impeded by the fact that it's like, oh, but I now have access to this gear that you're not even able to get now. And also because I have more time to get, like, say, elemental attributes that augment my, say, healing, my mana regen, whatever, fire damage, whatever. Now you are at this disadvantageous position because I spent more time in the game, or because I'm higher level and I can do these things that aren't unlocked for you yet. It just, in my mind, it kills the game. It really does kill the game. In my opinion, that's when PvP died. And honestly, PvP in that game has not been the same. And I was a PvP player, so as soon as that changed, I was off. Like, the dungeons were fun and all, but like, if you can grind the dungeons by yourself, you know what I'm saying, they get stale fast. And like, again, if you have guilds and you rock with guilds and you do the dives, it's still not entertaining at all, like, at all. But yeah, I'm afraid of server wipes in this game. I'm afraid of them. I don't want them to happen. I really just want it to stay like this kind of like infinite exploration. The things that you get along the way will always matter. You know, I could see them even giving us pets, you know, and depending on what kind of quest you do, maybe what type of faction you really like, you know what I'm saying? You get like specific pets. I could even see them giving you a house to where you can put. Well, I guess technically you have like that pocket dimension, right? But maybe to change it up, right? Maybe that house you can acquire, right? Maybe it helps you restore your health pots instead of having to find them off of killing certain monsters. I don't know, making it to where it's like a safe haven to where you can maybe heal when you're on like long voyages, long journeys and stuff like that. Again, is just things that play into my mind. It's a possibility, but again, now that I think about it, with the pocket dimension thing, they could just make it to where that pocket dimension just does it for you, right? Which it should, in my opinion, but you know, it doesn't in actuality. Look, when I found this out, my brain exploded. I was like, I need to go around and walk the center of the map and kind of just branch out in different locations, trying to find these sick trees, bro, and try to grow my map. As soon as this happened, I'm over here like, Eureka! You know? But yeah, going straight into the combat, man. We trying to find what it is and what's up, you know what I'm saying, in this game. And honestly, the stuff that we did find what's up is it's fire. It's fire. Okay, and so I learned more that if you guys saw that little thing on my map that was orange and yellow, right? That's called a sparrow quest or a sparrow mission. And those are kind of just like the side quests in the game, right? And those quests are specific to your faction, right? So each faction has a different different sparrow quests, you know, and you can join different factions, right? But you can't be in the same faction at one time. So my idea is, once you finish one faction, you know, or the quests that are available at that given time for one faction, you could just switch to another one and just keep going, you know what I'm saying? They give you a bunch of resources. They give you, you know, why not? You know, the resources, the XP is super important. I say grind it out, you know what I'm saying? But right now, my big goal, if I had to say one big goal right now, is to find all the world trees. I want the entire map exposed to me. Okay, so you know that little twinkle, that shit that's been pissing me off for a grip now, right? Because I know it's important, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. If I would have pressed E on that, I would have been able to extract information from that, given my other ancestor, right? The crazy thing is, though, is that I remember very vividly trying to pull like pull information from it by pressing E, and I didn't get anything out of it. So the fact that it's working now, I wonder if it was a bug or what. But now that I figured that out, I just want to, again, I just want to go back and with all those little spots that I found different lights and the little twinkles in, and just start extracting information and figuring out what the hell is going on. Because again, like, if it's because this could just be lore. Like, it could just be aggressive lore, or it could be like a quest with again, a quest that can give me loot or insight into the location that I'm in, whatever, right? But yeah, like, the fact alone that I can't gush enough about how awesome this is. And like, look, this mural in and of itself made me think like there was something fucking gnarly in this fucking cave. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything that I could discover that really made me feel like, oh my god, there's a hidden boss in here. But again, maybe that is a hint to what's to come, right? Again, a wolf looking at the moon, and I was talking about a wolf boss monster. Maybe one of the bosses that I haven't found yet is a wolf. Potentially, right? But yeah, suffice it to say, there's a whole lot in this game that needs to be discovered, that needs to be found by me personally. I know there, after talking to somebody who's been in the Discord for Grip, he's told me a lot about like what other players have found, you know, how far other players have gotten, some of the fake news that's been spread. I learned that some of the multiplayer. So if you play this game right now and you're playing it with a group of people, just be wary that if you do that, right, there's a bug going on where you get negative currency, and it's not arbitrary amount. It's like millions for this game, right? And that, starting up, just trying to play with your friends can be kind of annoying, right? Kind of devastating. I was telling him, like, you know, hey, my resources are like the most important thing for me right now. Like, again, I'm stocking up trying to craft some crazy armor that I just found. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get a negative experience because I'm trying to group up with a couple of people. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know, because he was telling me the whole aspect of the game is you could play with people, right? But in my mind, it's like, again, why? In some points of the game, I could see why. Again, I haven't found any bosses to where I was like, damn, I need like another person to help me beat this. It's kind of like, even though I haven't played Elden Ring to any serious capacity, I've watched a lot of Elden Ring.
Have you?
I'll
try not to see it ruined.
Let's try to talk. Anyway, I haven't. Shit, that my whole mind just went a blank. Y'all need to help me out. I haven't experienced anything in the game to where I need a second person, right? I think of the Elden Ring raids, right? And how someone can invade your world is kind of similar to that, but it's like I haven't really found a monster, or like, yeah, I haven't really found a monster to where I'm like, damn, like, this thing is unbeatable for me. Like, I need to call up somebody from the Discord to really like help my ass out. You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, low key, my brain just telling me that's some bitch shit. Like, even if that monster kills me 500 times, if I on the 501st time I mollywop that motherfucker, then I'm good. All right, I'm good. You know, but as soon as I get help from another nigga, man, I'm a bitch for real. You know what I'm saying? And like the way y'all see my mindset, the way my brain functions, I can't ask for help if I'm struggling. You feel me? Like, I can't ask for help in this quest. You know what I'm saying? If like I can do it myself, you know what I'm saying? Especially if I can do it myself, you know what I'm saying? If it's hopeless, and in my mind there's no chance in hell, I might just die on it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just me. It's just me. Sometimes you gotta swallow your pride to ask for help, but other times, I don't know. I think you just Walk the fuck in. But yeah, I immediately walked into this room and I was like, did I just walk in a fat circle? I'm not gonna lie, being higher level to them feels nice, but like at the same time, there's still like that threat of making a mistake and dying. Especially if there's like an aggressive group of them. I find it very challenging, right? To like be able to win without falling into like a casualty, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if there's like 6 to 8 of them, like man, like that's just dumb. That's just dumb. But like again, a little perseverance goes a long way in this game. I definitely think if you don't want to die multiple times, like cutting your losses at a point is like it'd behoove you to cut your losses. But if you're like a guy who likes kind of farming EXP and like combat, like I am, like I don't know, I feel like it's just a part of the game. At that point, like I'll get so good at the combat to where, you know, 6 people aren't enough to handle me, right? That's just my mindset. But yeah, you know, like another compliment. This game looks beautiful in all places, man. Like the fact that I'm having 0 issue running the game, other than loading like the next area outside of the area I'm already in, is just like the chef's kiss. Beautifully made. It's not boggy at all. It's not harsh on my computer. Primarily because there are no other players in my world in particular. Again, I harkened at it before in my I think it was like my first or maybe even my second video on this, where I talked about how, you know, I'm only finding other players in very specific locations, which I thought at first was strange because I thought this was a co-op. So if it was a co-op, I expected certain missions or certain quest lines would force players to play together. Again, I was wrong, and kind of happily so, if I'm being honest, because if it's like an Elden Ring kind of aspect to where you have to invite people into your world to gain assistance, then you can have this kind of like really enjoyable solo run, and then all of a sudden you go to like these hub areas, in air quotes, right, and bump into other players, see what these other players have, and if you see something that you like or something that intrigues your interest, maybe either it's gear or maybe you people conversation that you're not quite sure about, like they're talking about a specific location, specific boss that you haven't quite heard of yet, you can just, you know, spark up conversation. Hey, yo, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Where is this? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, again, you just have a marvelous ass time. You know what I'm saying? And again, the game at that point is great. This game? I don't even know like what is competing with this game in terms of category. Okay, like does this fall in the same place as a Diablo, like of that those games of that ilk? You know what I'm saying? And or is it kind of like again kind of like is RuneScape and are those two games the same game, like in the same category? I'm not even quite sure, but what games are that have been recently made are in the same category as this one? Does this fall in the same category as Elden Ring? You know what I'm saying? As Elden Ring Night Rain even? You know, like I say that to say because I was gonna gush this game up even more. I'm saying depending on what they add on release to the game in comparison to what is released right now, this game could get an award very easily, very, very easily. And in my opinion, I feel like we as a community of gamers, right, should throw out best looking game, you know, instead of best looking. I don't know like what all of the awards are, maybe, you know, best feeling game on pre-release, or best like, I know there's probably a best storyline, you know, probably most, like, I wonder if there's like a category of like most emotional game, like a game that makes you really feel some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like again, I feel like now that we're in 2025, games at the minimum should look like this and run as smooth as this. You know what I'm saying? To where it's not fucking up your computer when you're trying to experience something. You know, I feel like that's the bare minimum. But again, I understand, like, oh, your computer hardware is gonna play a factor into how smooth the game runs and da 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 da. But like, a really good game is gonna be able to play on anything smoothly and comfortably without like too much adjustments on graphics and all that stuff, in my opinion. Right, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. People could torch me in the comments, but in general, I want to know y'all's opinion. If I'm crazy, let me know. Hey man, that's a wild take. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Let's start a real ass conversation. You know, like, and also, like, I don't know if this is an award, but games with the most enjoyable puzzles. You know what I'm saying? I haven't played a puzzle game in a grip, but these puzzles were pretty simple, and when you got them, you're like, okay, so that's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? It was nice, but like, I wouldn't give it an award for that. But there is an award to be had for games that actually make a decent puzzle, because some people who like using their brains like a decent puzzle. Like, again, when I saw that there was a puzzle in this dungeon, the first thing I did was go, woohoo! Like, you know what I mean? I get to solve something instead of stab things all the time. Which, don't get me wrong, I like fighting. Like I enjoy fighting. Like, again, my biggest thing I hope they do in this game is improve the combat. So, like, again, another thing that they weren't shy in putting in the game was puzzles. And again, I love a good puzzle. Like, I love a good puzzle, you know? So, you know, more, you know, and maybe some more challenging puzzles would be nice too, because honestly, the puzzles I've ran into right now are kind of like second grade to kindergarten level. Maybe we get some more challenging shit, you know what I'm saying? But that all depends on what the community thinks and what their cup of tea is, because not everybody wants to spend like 15 minutes on a puzzle, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people like making puzzles, some people like building puzzles, and some people like putting the puzzle to the side. You know what I'm saying? What cup of tea are you sipping? You know what I'm saying? I've given my 2 cents on the situation. I like making puzzles. I like breaking puzzles. You know what I'm saying? So, what's up? What's up? So yeah. Honestly, after this whole like exploration, I am definitely gonna spend a lot bit more time just trying to discover more in this game, because again, I didn't even find the temple I was looking for, but I found so much more, you know, just in terms of information and just in like content I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? So like, this game is marvelous. This game is marvelous. Though I'm a little curious, right? Because 2025 so far has come out with some very... What games have come out in 2025, to be honest? This game ain't even out. But it is out, sort of. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, is this going to be like a fully released 2026? I'm just trying to think of like other good games that I've played that I really enjoyed. Other than Mecha Break. Mecha Break is fucking solid. I can't really think of any. Like, if I go to card games, the first thing I think of is Shadowverse, the new one. I've been having a lot of fun on that. I might drop a video on that because they had just released a new card pack, and I've been dealing with more necromancy decks that I've been really enjoying. I might drop a video on the newest one that I made that is giving me a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment, but it depends, because I generally don't even like talking on the card videos, because, like, what do you say? I draw. You know what I'm saying? We're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, but I just wanna make a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh references and kind of like be a nerd in that regard. But you know, I don't know. Like, there's a limit to my geek outs, if you allow me to call them that. Oh, this whole spot here made me mad because I tumbled into a wall thinking if I tumble, I'll go like it'll instantly mantle me on the other like platform. It didn't do that. I hit a wall. Then I jump. The guy strikes the target that I was at, not where I was, and I die anyway. That made me a little nettled, but at the same time, you know, these are kind of like the wacky things about the game. You know, not every game is perfect, but at the same time, this game is great the way it is. You know, like the only thing that can happen with this game is going up, and that is an aphrodisiac, man. It is an aphrodisiac. It is the most, in my mind, most addicting thing. Like you are at the base level of greatness. You're at the base level of greatness, and now all you have to do is not fuck it up. Yeah, and it is so hard to fuck this game up. If they do a server reset, I see 50% of the community going. like I'm not even capping. I can literally see 50% of the community gone in a night. Like it would be such a bad idea. Whoever thought of, you know, resetting a player's hard work is a fucking just an asshole. Like no one wants that. No one wants that. And this is the first game I've ever played where like that possibility, well, other than Illsword, right, is a actual like thing. And I'm generally fearful because I don't like the shit. It's like all the time I spent doing this one thing, dying and doing the run 150 times plus, and then in a conversation, that shit is negated instantaneously. It's like, all right, I'm gonna just uninstall the game because who gives a fuck about my time? Am I right? Like, what the fuck? I spent so many hours trying to get these one pair of pants that does XX stats, and now you're gonna nerf the entire item set. For what reason? Because you don't see another item set getting used, even though it has the same stat line but a different effect that no one gives a hoot about. Listen, I'm off. I gotta go, man. There's some other stuff I can do. Like I'll play Street Fighter and I'll just deal with my character being nerfed because I can work around that. That's doable. That doesn't take me too much time. But having to rely on RNG to get an item that you can just what's the word I'm looking for? Make irrelevant in an instant. Listen, man. I'll be over here. Y'all do what you want over there, but I'll be over here. Like y'all got it. Like y'all got it. I don't even give a fuck. On some unrelated news, right? I stumbled upon a Hunter Biden video, right? Where it is a pretty famous one where he's endorsing coke or like crack. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm laughing the entire time. Like, this guy wants to be an electoral candidate. And the only thing I can think of in my mind is that if he even gets one position of authority in, like, the U.S. legal system, I think we're heading down a bad ending. Because if a crackhead, a very avid and proud crackhead or cokehead, can get into office and potheads get so much flack that they can lose their jobs off of talking about it too much, like, or get arrested for talking about it too much, you know what I mean? Like, what society are we actually in to where there's like this blatant favoritism for one drug over the other? And by the way, like cocaine and like crack and all that, I'm pretty sure they say that's like a rich white person drug, but I could be wrong, but that is what I heard through my life experience, movie jokes, all that. Okay, y'all can tell me I'm wrong, but again, like from the places I've lived, the places I've gone, I've never seen a black person use that stuff. I've seen it in movies and in shows, like as a joke, but I've legitimately never seen in my life a black person use like hardcore like drugs like coke and crack. There's like other stuff out there like lean and like pills that I've seen a lot of like black people get like hooked on, and it fucks them up, and that's what they like. You know what I'm saying? It's the curse of the black folk. We like strong shit, but certain strong shit, right? And you know what I'm saying? Like it, like, but I see a lot of people like a lot of white folk be liking the powder. They like it. They like that sugar. You know what I'm saying? That book of sugar. But hey, I'm not judging nobody. Again, I say I want to try mushrooms. I want to try a bunch of mushrooms, right? But only because there are proven facts that mushrooms have some level of neurological benefit to the brain. And in my mind, I would love to see the evolution of my mind through that psychedelic journey. Like, if I'm gonna just become a better person, a better me, or I'll understand some more about me that I don't know off of this one adventure, and it's not gonna fuck up my life, like, sure, I'll eat it once. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it looks good, eat it. And if it gives you a weird ass side effect and it's from Mother Nature, fuck it. You might want to do it again. You know what I'm saying? But don't be weird about it, because I've seen some people be like, so like because to keep myself out of the user mentality, right? Sometimes I'll watch documentaries on people who go on ayahuasca trips, and I see how they talk about it, right? And there's a thin line between a casual user and an addict, right? And the way that I differentiate it is, there was this lady who was talking about it, and she said it was her life route. And I thought that was insane, because it shouldn't be the all-encompassing thing in your life. It should just be a thing that highlights what you've already done in your life. That's the big difference, the distinction. But off my random stoner drug talk, look at the showmanship. As soon as I walked in the room, shit caught on fire. Lights. The cinema of this game, gangbusters. You know what I'm saying? If like, oh my god, like, take my money. You know what I'm saying? This game is free. This game is free. It didn't cost me nothing, and it's fucking gold. It's gold. And like, what, like, the small things, you know what I'm saying? It's not doing anything crazy. It's just these small things that, like, maybe a little bit dubious to other people. Maybe they overlook it. They don't really play into it. But again, you're selling a scene. You're selling these moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, I made it here. I made it there. I made it everywhere. And when I get there, they welcome me. The spirits welcome me into this catacomb of the kings, of the gods, in this way or another. And it's fucking sick. Like, how do you, like, how can you hate it? How? Like, it gives, like, ancient Greek discovery with a hint of magic, wonder, and like, showmanship. And I just fucking love it. I love it.